what comes into your mind? Ethics in lovemaking.
Hello.
Yes.
Thank you. When we talk of ethics in lovemaking, actually, what constitutes in the lovemaking when making love? What's supposed to involve the love?
Amen.
Amen.
Very good. Mr. Mamu wants to speak from behind.
I think from the layman's point of view, it's the acceptable norms and values which goes with responsibility in making love as a couple, from my view.
Amen.
The acceptable ones.
That's very good. Normally it's about moral decisions, moral character. So we need to have moral principles or decision taking concerning how we relate with our spouses. Amen. So we have defined ethics already, and then we also have love making. Love making, we have two definitions that I was able to retrieve. One is the act of courting or wooing. And the second is the sexual play and activity between lovers. Sexual play and activity between lovers. So in that second definition, you have two of them. One is sexual activity, and the other is also the intercourse, sexual intercourse itself. So the act of play and sexual activity between couples. If you feel like asking a question, you can ask in the course of time. Now, when we are considering ethics in lovemaking, it all originates from our hearts. It originates from our minds. Something that we think it should be morally acceptable in the mind. And when that settles, then it descends into the heart. And then it comes out to manifest itself. That's why Jesus says that the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks. Initially, you conceive the idea, and then it drops down to the heart. So whether you be corrupted or not, it depends on the content of the heart. So Jesus says that if, or let me say from the point of view of Job, he says that he has made a covenant with his eyes that he will not look at a woman and lust after her. That is Job. Before Jesus was born, he has made a covenant with his eyes that he will not look at a woman and lust after her. Why should Job make this kind of statement? You cannot say that men should not pass by you, or men shouldn't pass by you or in front of you. You need to make a covenant with your own eyes that will not look at the woman and lust after her in your heart. You can't say that men or handsome guys shouldn't come to walk in front of you. You must make a covenant with your eyes that will not look at a gentleman and then lust after him. And James says that when lust is conceived, when we get pregnant with lust and it matures, then it gives birth to sin. That means that what we do, our actions that we do or we perform, first are done from our hearts. They are first conceived in the heart before we perform them. And the same way Jesus says that don't think that you will need to go and lie down with a man or with a woman before you can say that you have slept with a woman or a man. For he says, if you look at a woman and you will lust after her, you have committed adultery or fornication already. So Jesus looks, or God looks into the contents of our hearts. He looks into the contents of our hearts. We don't look at a woman or a man and lust after him or her. So if Jesus is looking inside our hearts, then we can talk about a concept in philosophy that we call motivism. I've said before, we have motivism and consequentialism. Motivism is what necessitated your actions. Why did you do what you did? Or why are you doing what you are doing? What is the brain behind your actions? That is the motivism. And God judges our hearts. And the consequentialism is about the consequences of the actions that you have made or you have taken. So your consequences may result in pain for you. You may be put in prison or jail because of the consequences of your actions. But your motives might be right. In that sense, God does not condemn you. Amen. If your actions yield negative things, but you have the right motive, then you are not guilty. For instance, if you want to help somebody, let's say a child is running across the road, and a car is coming, and you want to save the child from being hit by the car. And in the act of doing that, you push the child instead. And the child was knocked down by the car. You may be jailed for that because you pushed the child. And that is the consequences of that. But in your motive or in your mind, you had a clear conscience that you wanted to save the child. So even that, you may be jailed, but you'll be justified. I hope you are with me. Yes. So that is the motivism we are talking about. Let us examine our motives in everything that we do. You may be doing the right thing, but the motive may be wrong. The consequences of your actions may be right, but because you did it with wrong motive, you will not be innocent. You will be guilty. Because God looks into the heart. It's not difficult to accept. For instance, you are helping somebody in need. You are giving out your resources to help somebody. The person knows you are doing good. Other people around know you are doing good. But deep down your heart, you are not doing good for nothing. You have some ulterior motive, some wrong motive behind. In that sense, you are doing the right thing, but the motive is wrong. You are not justified for that.